Three sound bites in today's Tower Babbling that's usually our want. Three. So RFK Jr. has been in his job for months, and a senator would like to believe that it is RFK Jr.'s fault that he can't tell us how many people died from the COVID flu.
Do you accept the fact that 1 million Americans died from COVID?
I don't know how many died.
You're the Secretary of Health and Human Services. You don't have any idea how many Americans died from COVID?
I don't think anybody knows that because there was so much data chaos coming out of the CDC, and there was
That's the first concern.
these are not
You don't know the answer.
RFK Jr. is right. The senator is wrong, and the senator should know he's wrong. It begins with the fraudulent PCR test and something called the cycle threshold rate. If you turn the cycle threshold rate up above 30, you'll find false positives of anything. You could find a grapefruit that had COVID and people did. You could open a can of Diet Pepsi, give it a PCR test at a cycle rate of 45, and it would have COVID. It begins with that. Or take the case of Grace Sharp. In my judgment, a jury said this didn't, the hospital system and doctors were not guilty. I disagree. I think that they murdered Grace. She went into the hospital with oxygen levels of 98%, and she died having been given a 3-drug cocktail that you would give an end-stage cancer patient, or hospice patient, rather. In between that, they did everything they could to lower her respiration. They gave her drugs adverse to her recovery. They vented her against her will. They gave her sedatives. And then they turned around and pretended she died from COVID. That's a debatable case, you could say. It's not debatable to me. Or people who shot themselves in the head, committed suicide, but had COVID several weeks before. Those were called COVID deaths. We don't know how many people died from COVID. I would tell you 98% of people didn't. They died with it. Huge difference. Second soundbite today is Tower Babbling, still on the topic of COVID. Rochelle Walensky, way back on January 30, 2021, had this to say about the magic injections that the DoD and DARPA helped design for pharma.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real-world data.
It's in real-world data? At that point, it was nowhere near real-world data, and the clinical trials didn't say anything of the sort. In fact, they said the opposite. This is one of the reasons why Pfizer wanted those data hidden for 75 years, and the FDA tried to expand it to 150 years. Now, that was January 30, 2021. This, though, is later at an event in St. Louis, and this is our best babblers for the week. We do this on Friday, the best babbling. This is Rochelle Walensky trying to express her astonishment that everything they told us could have been, turned out to have been, wrong.
Where could we have improved? I think I can tell you where I was when the CNN feed came that it was 95% effective, the vaccine. So many of us wanted to be helpful. So many of us wanted to say, okay, let's start taking it out, right? Now we're done. So I think we had perhaps too little caution and too much optimism for some good things that came our way. I really do. I think all of us wanted this to be.
Yeah, except what we know in emails now is you all knew. See, we have the emails that prove you knew that these things weren't going to stop transmission of infection. We also have the public filings from the pharma companies who knew it. So, nice try. And that's a wrap for today's Tower Babbling. That was the Tower of Babbling. On a Disciple's View. On a personal note today, there is a secular album that I hope you'll give a listen to. And it's difficult sometimes to get past because it came out in the 80s. So it has the intended overuse of synthesizers and reverb. But it's written by a guy who loves the Lord Jesus. His name is Patty McAloon. And Patty was the chief songwriter, singer, the brains behind a band called Prefab Sprout. And they had some pretty major hits. for a bit. Bonnie Don't Live at Home was another. Desire was one. There were a couple of that came out very big. They had an album that the theme was about Elvis, but Elvis by way of introducing the topic of Jesus Christ. And in the case of this album called Jordan the Comeback, it is a series of comebacks. So one of them is Atlantis. That the idea of Atlantis is this island, this home apart from the world. And you'll listen to the song and realize that if you're looking for Atlantis, the only way to find that is through Jesus Christ. And it begins the record that way. It has the apparent comeback of eternal youth, expressed in a song called Wild Horses. And in that case, it also becomes imminently clear. There's no comeback worthwhile on earth. It's only comeback of Jesus Christ. He extends this into, he uses an Elvis metaphor again about Elvis is going to come back. He's going to come back and bring the songs back, but it's really about, no, there's no comeback apart from Jesus. There's a song that's not my favorite song on the album, but it is Satan going to Michael, the angel, the archangel, and he's begging the archangel to go to Jesus and tell him he's sorry. It's Satan saying, please, please, please go to Jesus and tell him I'm so sorry. Michael, don't you hear me? Because he knows Michael. Michael doesn't respond. He can't. Satan made his decision. He can't. Right after that song ends, Patty McAloon comes in with this. Having had Satan begging for forgiveness, Patty then begs for forgiveness. This song is called Mercy on Me. Mercy on me. Oh, say that I'm forgiven. And wrap your arms around me. To your goodness I surrender. Without mercy, where is goodness? Won't you have mercy on me? Mercy on me. Oh, say that I'm forgiven. And wrap your arms around me. To your goodness I surrender. Without mercy, where is goodness? Won't you have mercy on me? It's a beautiful song. And when we surrender to the Lord Jesus, as Patty McAloon sings there, we're surrendering to goodness. We're surrendering to literal love. You know, we're taught in the secular world to think of love as an emotion, and we say we feel love. Okay. But the Bible describes love as a series of actions. And it's a thing. It's a person. It's an entity. It's God. We're surrendering to love because of love. And it is a difficult thing in the West, and particularly, I think, for American men, to truly surrender, to truly take the knee, and to take it and say, make me a servant. Make me your servant. Make me the washer of feet. Make me the janitor of the world. See, janitors, beautiful, important work. And to be the janitor of the world, the washer of feet, on behalf of love itself, could there be a better role? Why is it so hard to surrender to love itself? In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Because we believe, we speak. Because he first loved us, we speak his word. We walk in the path of Jesus Christ to make disciples of all nations, Until the Lord decides that we can speak again together, may his peace, which transcends all understanding, rest upon you and your families. On behalf of Randy and AFR, I'm Todd Herman, and this has been The Disciples View.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
90.5 KTXG Greenville, Dallas.
For family-friendly entertainment or resources to strengthen your walk with God, there's one name you should remember: American Family Studios. We don't just want to bring you shows, movies, and specials that will entertain or build up your family. We're committed to honoring God by making them both biblically sound and of the highest quality possible. Check us out at AmericanFamilyStudios.net.
This is American Family Radio, the listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
This is American Family News. I'm Robert Thornton. The investigation continues into the killing of Charlie Kirk as the suspect is in custody. Part of the investigation surrounds messages on the Discord app involving the suspect. Fox contributor Paul Morrow made these comments today.
It argues perhaps that the roommate was cognizant of what was going to occur or had just occurred, and that's absolutely going to be a very, very focused aspect of this investigation. You can imagine federal government pulling very hard at this. John, you will tell you that almost certainly by now a preservation order has been issued to Discord, which is a gaming app, to make sure they preserve all relevant stuff.
The 22-year-old male suspect had become more political in the run-up to the shooting and had indicated to a family friend that he was responsible. And there's more discussion on violence in America and solutions for it.